Good Monday evening, everybody. Spirit of 420 here because everything I do is so gosh darn 420. It's my nature. I have been smoking weed since I was 14. I've been around weed since I was born. It is who I am and what I do and where I'm going. Holy shit, that's hot. I made sure it was extra hot tonight because it always gets cold on me. And of course, just like my intro says, or my countdown tells you, I fucking spilt it. It's just the way it happens. So I've had one hell of a bittersweet day. Of course, anybody who knows my show knows that even though this is a flick dick investigation, and I will be getting to John Wick Chapter 4, I'm always going to talk about other things. I mean, that's part of the show. It's part of what, quite frankly, the show is all about, right? See right there, Spirit of 420. So, I think I mentioned it the other day, and I'm not sure if I did. But of course, okay. So just a quick summary. I have not gotten a new job. I've been unemployed since October 3rd. October 21st, I got a commitment for investors with a new company that I was starting. October 22nd, Sky died. 7 days later, those investors backed out, which is, I can understand that. So needless to say, things have been very tough. At the same time, his twin brother lost his job. So there's been multiple streams, 3 major streams of income. Both myself and my 2 oldest sons lost income. One to death, one to lost job, and another one to lost job. Anyway, it's been tough. And you don't count on... how do I say it? You don't want to count on, and you don't want to look forward to someone's life insurance. But apparently, my late son, Skylar, God bless you, buddy, had the foresight to not only get life insurance, but when he left one job, because he got it through Toyota, when he left that job, he kept it on his own. And I got to tell you, it's funny because the payment, everything about it is 22. That's all I'll say, as much as I'll say of it. But it's 22 is all over it again, as that number continues to show itself after his passing. And all I can tell you is the amount doesn't matter. What matters is the fact that my boy even thought about it and did it. And it's going to tremendously help us because we have been in a very rough financial situation. On top of that, and this is what I mean by bittersweet. It's, you're like, okay, that's going to help, but just please know that I would trade it all to have my son back. I would not. It's not, the money is nowhere near a fill of the void, but it helps get past the financial hardship. I mean, one of the things, I haven't been able to pay for his cremation. I'm still in the hole almost $5,000 for that. So when I say it's, this really put us in financial distress, it did. And we were going through it not thinking that there was going to be any kind of salvation or help of any kind like this. And funny enough, I mean, I've done what I can, but I haven't been in his bank account every day, and I don't look at everything. And I didn't notice the automatic payments that were coming through to Allstate, and the payments are still. So we'll also get those payments back too. Just on a side note, all that comes back to you from the time of death. So anything that we paid after his death, we also get that back. But it's bittersweet. In order to do all this, I had to go down and get a copy of his death certificate, which I had been holding off on doing just because I didn't want to read it. It also meant I had to get a copy of the police report. And I already knew, there's going to be a lot more discussion about this over the years, but the police report is just riddled with inconsistencies and mistakes. Things that I know for a fact, witnesses that were there, they're now friends of mine. They stopped and talked to the police. There's no mention of these people. It doesn't make sense. Right? So at the same time that that the family is getting this benefit, it's also dredging up, which is not even, 6 months old. It's also dredging up the fact that his case was not handled properly. It is a mystery right now. I do not believe that my son simply lost control and flew into a guardrail. If you understand the situation, this is a place where as you're coming around like this, it curves around. There's an on-ramp right here, and there's a huge embankment wall that stands up like 20 feet, maybe taller, right here. So you can't see anything. This is all, you can't see around the corner, or see around the corner as you're coming around. And what they are claiming is that my son simply lost control, hit a guardrail, and broke his neck. Right? That's not the case. I myself have coming up this road, traveled the same path that he has, and cars nearly run me off, and I drive a fucking juke. He was on a motorcycle. So it is a corner known for people pushing in, because I told you there's an on-ramp here and the highway's here, and it goes around a turn here, and it's very easy to not even see somebody or to just be a dick, either one. But bikes are hard to see. That's all there is to it. So I 100% believe and know that there was somebody else involved. I won't go into all that, but that's where the bittersweetness comes from. I haven't even fully read the report. I'm already disgusted. I know his twin brother is, because he's been calling me all day, and I've tried to tell him, like, hey man, give me some time. I gotta process all this, and you're hitting me really quick, right? Because he's angry, and why wouldn't he be? So it's been one of those kind of days. I had other plans today, but these took precedence. Just a quick shout out Friday. I'm going to have got some comments here that I'm missing. Sorry about that. Hey, what's up, King? How you doing, man? Yes, I am extremely excited. I was literally just getting to that. Friday, going to have King Lucky 420 on right here, and also going to have Hot Rob 420, who was on the show, if you remember, season premiere. So Rob and Lucky are going to be with me. That's going to be kick ass. We're going to have one hell of a smoke session on Friday. Very much looking forward to it. Very excited about it. But I was getting ready to do a shout out to them because I was supposed to get to some things today, including making thumbnails and getting the links ready, just so that because Lucky hasn't done this before, Rob's done it, but that way they can get in here, they can play with the software, because they get to do some things on their end as guests to kind of make it, a little more personalized to their time with me. So I will be getting that done. Hopefully tonight. Still, there's a chance, but I have to go over to my sons after this. Got to sign a bunch of paperwork, and we got to get this stuff emailed over to them. The sooner we get it emailed, the sooner the 2 to 3 weeks that it takes to pay out a death benefit, that clock starts. I was very thankful and grateful to the people that I know they're not going to see this. None of them know I have an internet show at all. But the folks that in records, I really appreciate their help. They normally have to pay for a police report like the one that I got today. Normally that would also take 7 to 10 days. And I was like, look, man, that's an extra 7 to 10 days on top of 2 to 3 weeks that it takes the benefit. So now we're talking a month before, my family sees this money. Is there any way can I come down to a station like where the report was filed? But she emailed it over to me within 5 minutes. And that was very nice of her. So, let's see. Before I get into Wick, like I have so many times, I want to just take a minute and read a quote from this little book here. There we go. Now you can see it. I'm going to read from Believe in Miracles, because I've tried to talk about this a couple times now. And, grief and pain, we're all going to have it. And it's 100% up to you, which means up to me and my own grief and pain. It's up to ourselves to learn from it, feel it, move through it, and grow from it. Not just grow, but gain from it, because loss equals gain and vice versa. And what I mean by that is, before all this started, things were going extremely well. And I even said, and I don't believe it was a jinx, it's just simply the balance. And it actually helped me prepare a little bit. It was an odd thing. It's an odd thing to say this, but the shock of my son dying is unbelievable. The acceptance of it was so fast that it blows me away, because it's almost like there was a part of me that knew it. I didn't know what horrible thing was going to happen, but I knew that the way my life had gone and what I believe and what I see in other people's lives was that the balance was going to happen. We had a real long run of just good and good and good. And there's nothing wrong with that, and I believed it was going to continue on one hand, but I was prepared for the reality that something has to offset the balance. I've said it 100 times. If the days kept being good, do you know how boring that would become for my family? And even though things continued to move up, there was that long stretch of time, we were dealing and getting dealt bad days. It's not like we didn't go through bad days, okay? But the momentum was clearly on the up, whereas the momentum for a while has been down. And I think now it's kind of, when it starts to go down, the first thing you got to do is stop the bleeding, as they say, right? And get that line to kind of stabilize. And then you can start to move back up and to the right. If I get that, there we go. For you, it's up and to the right. But believe in miracles, right? A piece of the miracle process has been reserved for each of us. Jim Rohn. I like that. Where there is great love, there are miracles. Willa Cather. I believe I'm saying that right. Cather. By the way, I've tried to get the electronic version of this so that I could share it with y'all, but I've yet to be able to find it. So there you go. And maybe I'm just wrong and not looking correctly on Amazon. Here's one of my favorites. This is Bernard Berenson. Miracles happen to those who believe in them. I'm going to read a few more in a minute, but I wanted to start off by explaining why I chose that one to read from today. Every day for a while now, I've already been talking about this, but I deal with the nighttime demons, right? And what I mean by that is I don't get good sleep. I do the best I can. I'm a little bit on the incontinent side at this point in my life, so I pee a lot through the night, like way too much. And other things keep me awake, so I don't really get a whole lot of sleep. And lately, I don't like going to sleep not because of the sleep. The sleep is actually, the sleep itself, when it happens, is an escape, but it's trying to get there. That's my point. If you get up every hour, then you can't really get into deep sleep. So I don't really get good sleep. And then when I wake up, what used to be a wake up and I have all these signs, you can't see them, but I have like one right here. One small positive thought in the morning can change your whole day, right? Think deeply, love much, work hard, and be kind. Grateful, thankful, blessed. And I constantly try to remind myself, but when I wake up, it's dark. It's really dark. And by the time I get on here, 7:20, or by the time the day starts, if you will, I'm usually okay. I do what I need to do. And I say this to you folks because I know other people go through hard times. Part of the thing I wanted to say to the two guys that are going to be here Friday, I'll start off with Rob, but I believe he has a friend who's dealing with some loss, and it really sucks. Loss sucks, but you have to go through it, and you have to believe. And the roundabout point of where I was trying to go, and I know I'm probably taking forever, and I apologize, is that this morning I prayed for a miracle. We had gotten the news of this insurance policy, but we didn't know who the beneficiary was or any of the things that really mattered. And we found all that out today. And all I can tell you is it was a miracle within our lives. So if you believe in miracles, they happen. It's just the simple truth. It doesn't even have to be that you believe in necessarily a higher power. Nothing says that you have to have a higher power in order to have a miracle happen, right? Perfect example, the greatest miracle of all, the human being. And that is my remains, Myra. Yeah, my remains. Maraya, Marya, Mannes. And then, here, I'll just read two more. Everything is miraculous. It is miraculous that one does not melt in one's bath. That's Pablo Picasso. And last but not least, from Oral Roberts, expect a miracle. Again, if you believe in them, then they will happen to you too. And I have plenty of proof of that, folks. Not just in my own life, but in my friends' lives. And Lucky, if you're listening or if you see this, I can't wait. We're going to have a nice smoke sesh. Yes, the three of us. But I've had a great conversation already once with Lucky, and I really think that I would love to have him on the show for a smoke sesh where he and I get to go back and forth, because I think that would be very, very interesting and very good for both of us, quite frankly. Also, I have a musical guest scheduled for, let's see, what's today? Today is the 27th. Friday is the 31st, the 7th. So not this Friday, but the next Friday, April 7th, Spiderweb, and that's SPY space DAWEB, Spiderweb, will be on the show. We're going to be doing a combined musical type interview. So he is going to perform some songs, I think, live, do some singing for us, that kind of thing. If I end up being wrong on that, I apologize, but I think he was really into the idea of doing that. But we're also going to have some good conversations. He is one of those people that, quite frankly, I am very attracted to, in the sense of what he's saying and what he's doing is all about positivity, trying to spread and do things and help the human race grow and move forward. And the guy's quite amazing. He's only 20 years old, and he already has his own record label with multiple producers. He's like, I even asked him, I was like, do you make your own beats? And he's like, no, I have a few producers now that make the beats for me. He's like, I leave that to them. He just writes the lyrics and sings. So, although he does play some instruments, but regardless, he doesn't really make his own beats. But I thought that was pretty cool that he has these other people making his beats for him. So he will be on the show on the 7th. I'll have that link up here probably tomorrow as well for the announcement of that. So you can, excuse me. Then you can get notified and save that. So next two Fridays are going to be really cool. Some cool guests. I also know for a fact that I will have a returning guest, the New Age Cannabis Podcast. We're going to be doing one. That one will not be live. I'm going to be getting. We're going to be doing a show, but that there's a couple folks that I'm doing shows with here soon. They're going to be guests. They're in South Africa, and that's an 8-hour difference. So it's really hard to do that live and ask them to, to give you an idea. When I go live at 7:20, that's 3:20 in the morning for them. So it's kind of unrealistic to ask them to do that live stream with me, but I will record it and it will come out at the same time, and it'll be a live stream of a pre-recorded show. So when I do that, just so you know, I usually try to be around during the stream so that I can chat more, because I usually don't chat just because I can't see it. It's so much to handle. Anywho, title of the show, John Wick. So I think I got all the shout outs and everything that I wanted to say. So let's start off with the history, right? And what I mean by that is John Wick has become, one of these it's become a major franchise, right? But keep this in mind, Keanu is now 58 years old. When he started this, he was my age. So he's, now 9 years older. That the first one came out in 2014. When that first movie came out, now in the first one, my boys, the twins, were too young to go with me. Like I said, it was 9 years ago, 2014, so they were literally 14 years old. I probably wouldn't have had a problem with them, but that was one, nonetheless, that my wife and I went to go see, and we absolutely fell in love with it. Fell in love with it. Thought it was really, really, just really gritty, original. Funny enough, same year, within a year, both John Wick and Equalizer with Denzel Washington came out. And just a quick side note, Equalizer 3 is being made. Same writer, same director, and obviously starring Denzel again. But John Wick was awesome. And I don't know if y'all know, but, critically speaking, it did really well in regards to the critics out there. I think IMDb, it immediately hit the top 250 all time. And, tomatoes, everybody, it was original, it was fresh, all that. Now, here we are in the fourth one, right? And to me, once you have 4 films, you've got to raise the stakes. And I see that they did. And still going back to the original line, when the second one came out, I got to take my twins, and it was my twins, my best friend and I, my wife, and the twins. And we all went. My 2 youngest stayed home with my mom. Oh, and my best friend's his son as well, who same age as my twins. Well, technically, I think he's 2 or 3 years younger. Either way, we went to go see the second one. This was down in St. Pete. I thought it was pretty fucking good. I did not think right out of the gate. I did not feel it was better. And I felt like they got in the second one even, and you go back and watch them and you decide for yourself. But I felt like they started pushing the limits of what was believable, right? Like, what could a human actually sustain? We're not talking about a superhero here. We're talking about just a man. What can a man do, and what can he sustain and still have the energy to keep fighting even? And I really felt like they pushed it right to the line on 2, right? 3, I was earnestly disappointed. I was like, wait a minute. Do you really expect me to buy all of what you're showing me? And to give you an example of some of the things I'm talking about, when you hit a guy, they don't just stand there and do this forever. And I really watched closely in 4. And I was disappointed. I don't want to give any spoilers, so I'm not going to give away anything. But all I will say is I thought the amount of what he withstood in this film and was still walking much less fighting, I thought was well beyond the limits of believability. I thought there was some cheesiness with multiple scenes that just were way stretched. And don't get me wrong, man, I don't want to hate on John Wick. That's the thing. I'm probably going to lose a subscriber because I'm hating on this film, but it was, and I love Keanu. I have been a Keanu Reeves fan since, oh my God, what was it? River's Edge. So look that up and you'll know how long I've been a fan of this guy. You know, I think technically the very first movie that I saw with him was Bill and Ted, but the one that made me love him was River's Edge. And then he just kept, he's full of depth. He is a great, great actor, but I couldn't believe it anymore. I watched it with a want to love it, right? I wanted to love this movie because I know for a fact that they have 2 more films scheduled. One's called Ballerina, I believe, and the other one's called John Wick 5. But he plays John Wick in Ballerina, so whatever, you know, his character is going to be back at least 2 more films. But there was a ton of stuff there. Some of the scenes were very cheesy in the way that they incorporated music and other things. And I'm really trying hard not to give away. So I don't want to give away the specifics when you go and see it. If you haven't, you know, that's fine. I would not pay for this film. And I was upset that I even had to pay the $2 extra to see it on IMAX. I was ready to leave more than halfway through this film due to the fact that I literally felt like I was an idiot, or at least the movie people think I'm an idiot because they think I'm going to believe it. Here's the sad thing. Got out, went home. My wife felt the same way. So I wasn't, you know, I want to make sure I wasn't crazy. And she's been with me from the beginning. Went home, and it's getting like ridiculous ratings. Ridiculous ratings. I mean, just listen to some of these. So IMDb gives it an 8.4. 8.4. Godfather gets like a 9 or 9.2 or something. Rotten Tomatoes says 95% fresh. There was nothing fresh about it. That's all I'm going to say. There was nothing. If you've watched John Wick, there wasn't a fucking thing fresh about this. I did like the tracker. I'll say that. Metacritic gives it 78%. 96%. 96 out of 100 fucking Google users like the film. It's almost heartbreaking. I want someone else to watch it. And get with me. I'll do a whole fucking episode with you if you want to sit there and debate it with me and put spoiler alerts on there so if anybody who hasn't seen it will know. But I can't wait. In fact, I'm going to do it at some point. I'm going to shred this film because it was so disappointing. And the biggest disappointment of it is what they are expecting people to believe now. This fucking dude isn't a superhero, right? I mean, I saw, what was it? That Santa Claus movie with David Harbour. I can't remember the name of it right now, but the one where Santa Claus was fighting the criminals. It's been out for a while, so I know you all know it. We saw it it came out this past Christmas. That dude took a lot of shit, and that's fucking Santa Claus. So, like, I mean, he's been alive for 1,000 years. John Wick is not going to live forever. And even his character is no longer young. He was an assassin for a long time, got married, left it, and now this has been going on. So you got to think, even in the fucking show, this dude is probably 50 years old, right? Unbelievable. And here's why it hurts. Not only do they expect us to believe it, but people are buying it. Don't get me wrong. I fucking love a good action sequence. One of the best parts of Matrix 2 by far was the highway scene, you know. But at least it felt believable. Even within the realm of the Matrix, it felt believable. This was so fucking bad. I give it a 50, you know, and the only reason I give it that much is because it's still the only thing that saved it at all was the story, but they could have done it more believable. But the story itself was good. The acting from everybody was good, except for the fact that when you see him, it reminded me, and I don't know if anybody else felt this way, but when Taken 3 came out with the incomparable Liam Neeson's, it looked like Bigfoot was fighting. That's what I told my wife. You go back and watch that, and it's like fucking Bigfoot. He's slow, and it felt the same thing with Wick 4. And I got to tell you, I am not believing that they're going to somehow come back from it. That's just my personal opinion. Can't tell you why, because I would spoil it. But when you go see it, you'll understand. I personally would not waste your money. Although we did find out one thing. So technically speaking, this movie came out in 3D. Now, it wasn't 3D playing where I was. It was just big. But I read the movie posters, and apparently it was 3D. So maybe that's what makes it. Maybe that's why it sucked to us. I guess that was my wife's thing. She's like, oh, so that's why we didn't like it, because we didn't get to see it in 3D. Personally, I don't think that 3D would save it. And I just, man, I can't wait to do a whole show, and hopefully I'll have a guest that wants to debate me. I'm sure it's not going to be hard to find, because apparently a ton of people think that the fucking movie was awesome. That's all I can tell you. What's up, Princess? Thank you for the laugh. I don't know. I do not know. I know there's a couple other movies that I'm looking forward to with Wick, and there's some other movies that the folks at Wick did. By the way, just on a side note, like Nobody was a lot of fun, and I really loved Nobody. But this can't be a spoiler. If you haven't seen it, then fucking spoiler alert. But the final scene with Christopher Lloyd became where that too, like that one, and I love that film. I still think it's good because I'm going to buy it. 98% of the film was highly believable and felt very realistic until 80-something almost 90-year-old Christopher Lloyd is pulling the trigger on a shotgun and not falling over. No offense, right? I mean, he looked like he could barely hold the shotgun anymore. And I mean, no disrespect to him. He's great. And it was a great cameo to have him play the father. But it's when you start to do those things that you do stress, like the very end of it, of Nobody, I was just like, wow, they could have made me believe this a little bit better. So, and I say that because Nobody is some of the same folks attached to it. And there's another one that they're doing, and I'll tell you about it as I remember the name, but there's another one that looks really, really good that the folks that did John Wick are doing. So again, it's just one man's investigation versus somebody else's, but I felt that it was unbelievable. Quite frankly, I thought, I will say this, I thought that it felt like Morpheus showed up to play the role of Laurence Fishburne's character. So most of the acting was pretty decent. It wasn't good. It was very hard to believe it. And that to me matters. Like, I don't mind stretching it, like one of the first movies when I was a kid that I enjoyed that was far-fetched, right? That was the word my father always used when I was growing up. Oh, that's so far-fetched, right? Was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And it's when the cart jumps from when they're in the mines, right? And they're in the mine cart, and it literally goes off the rails into the air. And then we're talking about a cart on rails, lands back on rails, and keeps going without any problem. That was far-fetched, but it's a movie, right? There's things when they're like that you can buy. Watch John Wick for yourself and tell me if you fucking believe this at all. Like I believed the first 40 minutes of it, and that was it. It was off to the races of I'm now sitting here just to watch all of it so that I can give a true investigation and not have to say, yeah, I got up, because then I couldn't tell you. You got to see a movie from beginning to end. They might have saved it at the end, right? Who knows? In this case, they did not save it at the end. So go see it for yourself. I do have to do a dab for King Lucky, the dab monster that he is. Rob doesn't dab, but he is one hell of a bong. So the beautiful thing is when I do this, I'm not only hitting my big ass beaker, right, but I'm dabbing. So this dab is a tribute to both Rob and Lucky. This is for you guys. Friday is going to be a fantastic show. I can't wait. Who knows what we're going to talk about, but I'm sure it'll be a lot of coughing going on. So I will say this: be ready for the. Oops, knocked it right off. You know, as I get older, the shakes are becoming more and more. I made a video today for Twitter, and oh my god, I was like, I did not know that I was. I never made fun of those folks. I always felt bad for them. The first one I remember was just on a side note, Katharine Hepburn, right? Because she had, and I think is it called? It's some kind of palsy. Anyway, you know, she shook really bad, hands, head, everything, you know. And now it's funny because, especially if I get my heart going at all, just maybe I should use it. Start being a beat maker with drums or something. Because I can really, like, I don't even think I could do it that fast before I got these natural shakes. I mean, now it just takes off on its own, and I just sit there and let it happen. But this dab is for you, Lucky, and for you, Rob. We'll be dabbing Friday and having some good conversation. And just remember this, folks. You know, I put out a tweet today, and I was talking about, like, and I already kind of said it at the beginning, but pain is something we all have, and we all have to choose how we deal with that pain, right? Un momento, por favor. I'm going to disappear for a minute. Well, that one got me. My throat was already tickled from the hit off a pineapple. And man, that one got me. Think about it this way. I know that people say it for a different purpose, but the meaning and the reality behind no pain, no gain is real for everything we do in life. If you have no pain, you're not learning. And if you have no pain, you also have no basis for understanding joy. So the next the next time you're going through pain, remember that something better is coming around the corner. Take a minute. If you don't believe in God, that's fine. Then pray to the universe. Pray to karma. Because what do you think karma is if it's not literally the balance being shown to everybody? And everybody, you know, I know a lot of people, I shouldn't say everybody, but there's a lot of folks that look in there like, you know, this person is so evil, but nothing ever bad happens to them. everybody has their place in this world. And when you call somebody a villain, know that there's probably almost an equal number of people, an equal number of people calling that same guy a hero or gal, that same person, right? And if you yourself call someone a hero, or they are a hero or an idol to you, that same person to almost the equal number of people is a villain or horrible or evil, or, you know, bringing about the end of days even, right? I say that because what we do is typically, and who we are is what values and what morals we've come to have in ourselves. Some people morally are going to lean towards what the vast majority of us may think is evil or bad, because they're needed as much as the people that we think are great and good, because on the other side, they're the exact opposite, right? It's really what I talk about all the time. It is the balance. For everything on one side, there is something else on the other side that balances it out. And the same goes for your pain, and the same goes for your joy. So remember how awesome you are, and the next time you're in pain, remember that something better is coming around the corner. Know that you are special, you are unique. The fact that there is only one you and nobody else is like you. There might be people that are similar to you, but nobody else is exactly like you. That's what makes you special. That's what makes you incredible. That's what makes you extremely important, and just as important as any other person on the planet, because you're a piece of the puzzle, and everything happens for a reason. Have a wonderful evening. I'll be back Wednesday. I may do a book reading on Wednesday. I'm not sure. Obviously, you know, I'm going to be here Friday with my guests. So have a wonderful evening. Have a blessed. Got a comment over here. Oh, yeah, man. For sure, Rob. I didn't see it. Sorry. By the way, for those of you watching, just know that there is always a slight delay. So when I say something, you hear it like 30 seconds or something later, right? So when you text it, funny enough, it all works the same way. It takes a minute to get to me, and I don't always see it right away. So, but again, each one of you are incredible. Each one of you are special. Please have a wonderful week. Have a blessed week. I will see you again Wednesday. I will have that show posted. I'll also have some other shows and information posted really soon for upcoming guests. And with that, have a great one. I love all of you.
I switch here, I'm a strange fuck. Consist on ain't something I could say well. Throw my change into the wishing for a change well. Wish a day is swell life for the next come. And when the next come, pretend that it's the best one. Like I ain't even gonna try and say that to the next one.